Hey folks, this is Sunny Fahouri, aka Darth Caboose here, and welcome to my channel. We are back for our Let's Play Labyrinth, The Awakening. And this is our 4th campaign, and this is actually going to be turn number 5. But before we begin, a couple of quick notes. Yeah, you may have noticed that there's been about a half a month difference between the last video, the turn 4 video, and this one. There's a couple of reasons for that. One, I have moved to a new location, and consequently had to spend time doing that, so I wasn't able to have a lot of time to record videos. The other thing was I actually already did the turn 5 video, but in my foolishness I did not save the VASSAL file to meet those required to save it, so I'm kind of stuck back in the just having finished turn 4. So having not wanted to play turn 5 again, I elected to wait a little bit so I could sort of try this again with fresh eyes and not be like recounting my strategy from last time. So it'll be fun to compare this video with the other one, which I'll release at a later date, and see where I do things differently here. But with that out of the way, let us get back to our turn 5, to turn 5 of our campaign of this, which is our 4th campaign. Just a quick reminder, we are playing as the jihadists, and the United States is being controlled by the bot. This is, of course, a single-player game. And by that same note, we also instituted a change in the victory scoring, wherein we, as the jihadists, would have to score 2 of the 3 victory conditions in order for the game to end. And this essentially stops me from just rushing a victory condition and not fully testing out the different features of this expansion. I also want to apologize in advance. The new place I've moved into is quite hot, so I have a fan going on in the background. You might hear some more background noise. Additionally, I'm living fairly close to a major street, so you may hear the occasional motorcycle / ambulance passing by. To prove to you that I am an actual human being and not an alien from outer space. Anyway, let's get right to it. So, I will take over the world now. Alright, so we've already dealt the hand of cards to each player, and I believe we should reveal what the jihadists have. And looking at this hand, this does seem a little bit familiar to me because of that last video I did, but like I'm sort of thinking about it right now. So what do we have here? We have a bunch of neutral cards. We have 2 jihadist cards and then 2 United States cards. And the US cards are they're okay. They can be dealt with. This one allows the United States to place troops in countries that are in civil war, but I don't think there are any yet. No, there are not. Not that I can see, so that's a safe card to play. We also have the Iran elections that could happen. And Prism, I believe the way this is implemented is that the United States, let's just go down to the event area for the US. Prism. Is it there? I don't think it is. I think what Prism did was, oh yeah, so it either activates half of the sleeper cells on the map, or alerts all the plots on the map. So that's fine. Okay, so I think what I want to do, let's just go back to the main game view, is we're gonna kick things off. We go first. I'm gonna move that marker over there. And just as a quick recap, our funding is at moderate. We would like to get to the 8th position so that at the end of the round it would drop to 7 and we'd have our ample funding. US prestige is currently bottomed out, and the world is diametrically opposed to the United States in terms of their position on the war on terror. So therefore, we should take advantage of that and try to convert countries to Islamist rule while we have this opportunity present. Of course, Afghanistan, the reason why the US's prestige bottomed out was because Afghanistan converted to Islamist rule, which occurred because of the reaction markers that were placed there. And during the convergence phase of the polarization phase, that was sufficient to convert the country from poor to Islamist rule. Okay, let's jump straight to it. Enough jibber-jabbering, and let us look at our hand and decide how we want to play things out. So it looks like the only card that has a bad effect is Prism, which we could plot with. But by that same metric, it is a 3 ops card, and I'm not sure I want to spend 3 operations points plotting. Instead, what I would like to do is to be able to can I create the Caliphate? Because if I could, I would be able to get 3 funding from this beheading card, which is a little unfortunate, but what you gonna do? Alternatively, I can get my hands on a on a WMD if I send a guy over to Iran. And if looking at the board right now, the Syrian WMDs have already been exhausted. Iran's WMD is the only one that's available. Pakistan's available too, of course, but they have 3 awakening markers. It's going to be pretty tough to crack that nut. Because remember, you only get the WMDs if the country converts to your side, to Islamist rule. So that's not going to happen anytime soon. Okay, so I think what I want to do is I want to play a 3-ops card. And I want to do that to start moving guys over to Saudi Arabia, which has a reaction mark, which means the major jihad would be easier to commit to. So I'm going to go ahead and play limited deployment, and let's just go ahead and use up that card. So I'm going to spend 3 ops. The event doesn't fire because it only works in a civil war country, of which there are none on the board. So we can safely play that, and I want to do some moving. You know, maybe I will wait a little bit for the Saudi Arabia one. I think instead what I want to do is move some guys over to Mali. I can't recruit because I'm already tapped out. So I think what I want to do is I want to move 1 cell from Afghanistan to Mali. And I think I want to make it 2. I'm going to make it these 2 that go there. And then I'll have the one in Iraq go to Saudi Arabia. So this one happens automatically. Let's just go ahead and do it because it's adjacent, so that's fine. But these 2 have to travel to Mali, so they have to roll against the governance of the country. So we have 2 rolls. They have to be 3 or less. We get a 5 and a 6, which is unfortunate, which means these guys are caught and sent off to the funding track. Most unfortunate. Oh, these guys are... There we go. All right. Okay, that was our first card, and the most unfortunate card it was. Our second card could be to play Prism for funding purposes, but I'm actually okay with this triggering and flipping cells face up. So I'm actually going to go ahead and... well, it's a little inefficient because I can only really recruit twice. So I think what I'll do instead is I will play... Man, these are all really good cards. Okay, you know what? I'm going to play Popular Support for the event. Place 1 Awakening or 1 Reaction marker in any country which already has 1 of the same type, then 1 in an adjacent country. So I'm going to play Popular Support for the event. I'm going to pick Reaction markers, of course, because I'm a jihadist, and I will pick Saudi Arabia because that is the only country that has a reaction mark in it. So this -1 becomes a -2. And now I can pick another adjacent country to further, to place another reaction marker. And I think the best choice here is going to be Iraq, because Iraq is a nice 3 resource country. So let's go ahead and convert that country, give it a marker, a reaction marker. So I'll just grab that guy, put that in the bottom left, and that is sufficient. So that is the end of our 2 cards, and we are done. It's over to the United States to take their turn. We will flip over their first card, and their first card is going to be Ferguson. And I have to remind myself of this because it's been a while. We go to the alert resolution flowchart, and we see here that there are no plots on the board, so we can skip that section safely and move straight on into the post-alert resolution flowchart. Now, I believe the U.S.'s reserves is at 1, so that's something we have to consider. Can they reassess? Well, they are currently soft, and they will only convert to hard if Islamist resources is greater than or equal to 3. So no, as of right now, they will not convert over to hard, and they can't because this card, I believe, has to be a 3 ops card, which it is not. And they also have to have 2 ops in reserves. Again, it's that reassessment question, which we'll keep saying no to until the events happen. Is this a playable non-jihadist card? No, it is a playable jihadist card. So this is going to be used simply for the operations points. So we go down the list. We know that they have a total of 1 + 1. They have 2 operations points potentially. We ask the question, can they disrupt in a poor Muslim country at Sal's rescue? And they cannot, because they need to have 3 operations points. They only have access to 2 of them. So we say no. Is there an are Islamist resources greater than or equal to 3? No, it is not. It's only 1 right now. We only have Afghanistan, which is a 1 resource country under our control. Can they do a war of ID and Muslim with DRM greater than or equal to 0? Well, it's quite unlikely, because they're currently suffering a -3 because the world is diametrically opposed, and then a -1 for a -4. Now, so they have a -4 through the GWAT and Prestige alone, but it should be interesting to note that Pakistan does have a +3 modifier, so really it comes up to -1. Despite that, they can't target that country, so the answer is no. There are no countries that they can use that for. Okay, next up is Prestige low? Well, yes, Prestige is low. So we go over to here, because they're at the 1 spot down there. Can they disrupt for a +1 Prestige? Well, let's look around the map a bit. The only places with troops are Iraq and Afghanistan. They cannot disrupt in Afghanistan because it's an Islamist country, but the troops are kind of stuck there, so no, they cannot do that. Iraq also has a cell gone, which was smart of us because we moved away from Iraq to Saudi Arabia, so no, they can't disrupt there either. So we go, no. Is the United States soft? Well, yes, they are. Okay, then they will do a war of idea in a non-Muslim country. So what we will do is we'll consult the chart here and say, okay, they're going to do a war of idea in a non-Muslim country. So they will first pick hard countries, then unmarked, then soft. Makes sense. They're trying to convert the countries over. So let's see here. They're going to pick hard because there are multiple choices. But in terms of the priorities, they're going to pick poor, then fair, then good. And among these, no cells in those countries. So let's take a look at the board here. Looks like we have the UK, France, Italy, Russia. It seems like, let's just make sure this is correct. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 countries at hard. Yep, those 5 at hard, and then Benelux is soft. So they will convert Russia to hard, from hard to soft, and they can do that if they also spend a reserve point. So they're going to go ahead and give that a shot. They roll a die. They get a 5, which is unfortunate. If you remember from the back of the player aid, when you do a posture roll in a non-Muslim country, a roll of 1 to 4 converts the country to soft, 5 to 6 makes it hard. In this case, the United States has failed to convert Russia to a softer stance. They remain hard against the war on terror. And the US does not gain a prestige because they did not match their side when the action was over. So a card wasted, and the jihadists say, huzzah! This card is discarded, and we move on to the next card. Censorship. Remove up to 2 awakening. I believe cell phones is in play, right? I'm just going to double check that. I think the United States played it for the event at one point. Yes, smartphones is in play. However, because the United States is playing this event, it will not trigger. So let's go over back to the US card and take a look at it. So remove up to 2, yeah, again, so yeah, this is a playable jihadist card. So if we go back to our flowchart, there are no plots, so we skipped over that. Reassessment possible? No. Is this a playable jihadist? No. So we go over here. Can they disrupt in a poor Muslim country? No. They only have 2 ops from the card, and they don't have any more reserves. They spent that in the last action round. By the way, we're over here, by the way. So we have the 2 ops. Can they do regime change? No, they need more ops than that. War of Idea and Muslim with DR greater than equals 0. No, nothing has really changed, so no, they can't do the War of Ideas. Their prestige is still bottomed out at -1. Okay, then we go to, is prestige low? Yes. Can they disrupt for +1 prestige? Nothing has changed. They can't do a disrupt, so we say no. Is the US soft? Yes. Another War of Idea attempt in a non-Muslim country. Okay. So we'll discard this card. It's a 2 ops card, and following the priorities, they will target Russia yet again. So Russia is targeted. They roll a die. This time they get a 1, which is a success. The country goes to soft, and that is sufficient to get the United States a prestige point. Let's do a quick recalculation here. We have a total of 4 countries at hard and 2 at soft. This means that the GWAT relations chart drops to World Hard 2. The United States is on its way to converting the world to a more neutral stance and not suffering a huge penalty when it tries to convince the Muslim world to follow in its footsteps. Very good. That was both of the United States cards, and they are done. There are no plots on the board to resolve, so it is back to us and our nefarious hand. Most nefarious indeed. So we've secured Saudi Arabia and Iraq for future endeavors, but we should still try to focus on countries. We should still try to recruit and get things going. Oh, Critical Middle seems like a good card to play. In a poor level 1 or 2 resource country, of which Mali is included, place from track or travel up to 2 cells. And that's great because that circumvents our funding restriction. Although we do have 2 that are available. We might want to recruit 2 first. The Iranian election seems like more trouble than it's worth. While it does allow the country to become influenced by events, at the same time, it is a -2 funding for us, which is not great. So I will not play this card. Instead, I'm going to use it for a double recruit action. And I'm going to go ahead and use 2 cells to recruit twice in Saudi Arabia. And the reason why I'm picking that versus Mali is because I can use this card to recruit in Mali, but not that in Saudi Arabia. So let's go ahead and try recruiting twice in Saudi Arabia. We roll 2 die. We get a failure and a success. 6 is higher than 3. 6 is higher, yeah, and 2 is less than or equal to 3. So 1 cell makes his way over to Saudi Arabia. Hey buddy, what's up? That was the usage of that card. So it was discarded. Yes, it was. No Iranian elections today. The next card is going to be Critical Middle for the event. So if jihadist in a poor level 1 or 2 resource country, place from track or travel up to 2 cells. I will of course place because that is a bit more efficient. And I'm going to place the 2 in Mali, of which that is a valid target because it is a 1 or 2 resource country. Notice that Nigeria is not possible to pick because it is not yet a Muslim country, although it can become one through the play of other cards that are not seen here just yet. Notice that Critical Middle has a special little thing here where it says, after playing or discarding, place this card face down in the approximate middle of the draw deck. There is no automatic function to do this, so I'm just going to do that right now. I'm going to go ahead and say, there is no automatic function, so I'm just going to say, I'm going to draw 21 cards. 42 divided by 2 is 21, so we take 21 of those, move those there, move our Critical Middle card to the middle of the deck, and then we grab all of those cards back, and ka-chunk, it is back there. Excellent. That was our second card play. Yes. Yeah, that's it. So we're done. It's over to the United States now with their 2 cards. So their first card is going to be Backlash. Okay, so there are no plots on the board. They don't have to worry about that. And this is not a playable use event because there are no plots on the board. So this is going to be used for operations points. Yes, so this is a 1-op card. Let's go through the list and see what they can do as soon as I can find the list. I think there's also like Backlash, right? Yeah, so with Backlash you actually go sort of in reverse order if it were to happen, but that's not the case there. So reassess impossible, no. Playable lounge, yes. So no. So we go down here. Can they disrupt in Port Muslim? They only have 1 op, so no. Can't do that, no. War of Idea, no. Prestige low, yes. Disrupt, no. I don't think so. They can't really do a disrupt. If this was an ally, they could technically do a disrupt, but they wouldn't get the +1 prestige, so you would actually say no to that question. Is the US soft? Yes, they are. So they're going to do a war idea in a non-Muslim country. So they can't pick Israel because Israel never changes, so they're going to pick one of these 3 countries. We'll just do a random die roll. It'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and away we go. They are going to try Italy. They're going to roll the die, and they get a 5, which is a failure. That means this country stays hard. The US does not get a prestige, so another failed card. Huzzah! Our next card is going to be Battle of Sirte. This looks like a card that only affects countries in civil war, and there are none on the board, so this card is not going to be played for the event. And in fact, if you look at the thing here, yeah, it just says highest cubes and highest cells, so this card is considered unplayable. So they have 2 operations points to play with. And let us consult the chart again. It seems like if we follow the exact same conclusion, they can't do War of Idea with DR greater than or equal to 0. Nothing has changed too much, so no. Prestige is low, yes it is, and they're going to try to do another War of Idea not in a non-Muslim country. So again, they pick these 3. We'll roll a die. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We get an Italy. They're going to try Italy again, and another roll. They get a 4. They succeed this time, so they go soft, and that is sufficient to bring the GWAT penalty relations to 0. And of course, because they succeeded, they will gain a prestige. Last, they had 2 operations points. Only one of them was used in Italy. So what they're going to do with that remaining operations point is Homeland Security. So, with all unused ops, disrupting the US, if there are cells or cadres, there are none. If the US is hard and GWAT penalty, or if ID in a soft non-Muslim country, they are soft, so they're not going to do that. Disrupt in a non-Muslim country closest to the US, there are no cells closest to the non-Muslim country, so they will not do that. And then finally, add any remaining ops reserves. So they're just going to put that single operation point that was left over into reserves. Okay, that is the end of their second card. So that was 2, and then no plots are on the board just yet, so it is back over to us with our nefarious card play. So now that we have all the cells we need in Mali, I think it is safe to try and convert it to Islamist rule. So we're going to go ahead and use the Prism card for that, and we are going to have this happen first, the text of the card happen first. So it says to activate up to half, rounded up, of all the cells on the board. All sleeper cells on the map. Okay. I believe all of these are sleeper cells. Okay. And there's a total of 11 of them because there's 11 missing there. So it's going to be 6. You know, that's rounded up, that you get to 6. So the question now is, which ones are the ones that are flipped face up? Because I didn't see Prism. I think, going to follow the choosing cells, right? So I'm going to treat these as like disrupts because they're kind of like pseudo-disrupts. Once the target's country has been selected for operation or by event, the US disrupts or remove blue cells. Okay. After these, so removing cells, US spot uses disrupt priorities. So we're going to follow the disrupt priorities until we remove all of them. Disrupt priorities. So Pakistan, it has an arsenal, so but there's no there, so we say no. Syria has no cells, and it also has no arsenal, so we can skip that. Iran has an arsenal, but there's no cells there, and they actually can't. I think they actually can flip them face up, so that would actually apply. Not that it would do much good there, by the way. Good countries, then fair, then poor. Seems like poor is the tie here, and it seems like these guys are safe because they're obviously not capable of being affected. So within the poor, we have besieged regime, non-ephemeral besieged regime, most cells, and then highest resource. Highest resource seems to be, that doesn't matter, it's most cells. So all 6 of these guys, because it was 6 cells, get turned face up. That's no problem at all, though, because we were about to do a major jihad there, which would entail flipping those guys face up anyway. Okay, let's try it. So that was a 3 ops card. We will perform the major jihad there, and that entails rolling die equal to the operation points, and you need to get 2 successes to succeed to convert the country to Islamist rule. So let us roll 3 die and see what happens. Okay, we get 2 successes, a 3 and a 2, but 1 failure, a 5. That failure is caught and sent off to the funding track, but we had enough successes to make it happen. So let's follow what happens here. Governance from poor to Islamist rule. Kuchunk. Shift to Islamist rule. Remove all regime change, besiege regime and aid markers. Add resources to funding. It is a 1 resource country, so we only get ourselves 1 single funding. And if there were troops, prestige to 1. There were no troops, so we skipped that part. There is another factor to this too, where if I look at the rules here, anytime a country convergence. Anytime a country becomes good or Islamist rule, the controlling player immediately rolls once on the random Muslim country table and places either an awakening or reaction marker there. So we get a chance to put a reaction marker on the board somewhere. So let's give that a shot. We're going to roll on the modified global table. But I believe the modification was, I have to remind myself of this because it's been a little bit of time since I've done this. Caliphate, Caliphate. Yeah, that's right. Is display? Nope. Nope. There it is. Okay, so tan die of 1 to 2 will be column 4, 3 to 4 will be column 5, 5 to 6 will be column 6. If I get a result that is a Central Asia, I will instead roll a die and consult this table instead. So let's go ahead and go back to the game, and we'll roll 2 die. We get a 2 and a 6. That 2 corresponds to column 4, and then 6. This is Somalia. So Somalia is going to get a reaction marker placed there. It can take the reaction marker because it's not a good or Islamist country. So we have to test the country first because it's untested. We roll a 6, which means it is going to be a fair country, and it will now get a reaction marker. Okay, so not the greatest reaction marker placement, but that's fine. That was our first card, yes? Ooh, our most action-packed turn. So we have a new power base in Mali now. That's wunderbar. Our next trick is going to be to... Maybe we should, while we have the funding, we should get some more guys out onto the board. I can also play this guy for a single funding to get us into the ample for the next turn, and also move a country back over to hard to make it harder for the United States to do things. But for now, I want to try to recruit these guys while we still have the funding. So I'm going to go ahead and play this for... it would be nice to try and make a country go to civil war, but that doesn't meet the requirement because there has to be a country with both types of markers present, of which none of them are the case. There's either only awakening or reaction markers right now. So this guy is going to go ahead and for 3, we're going to try to recruit 3 times in Saudi Arabia, rolling against the governance of 3. Reaction markers do not affect recruiting. All these guys do is affect war of ideas and the types of jihad, I believe. I'll just double check that, but I'm pretty sure that's the case. Yeah. So it's either war of ideas, jihad, or major jihad. So they don't affect plots or anything else in any way. Okay, so we're going to recruit 3 times. We're going to roll 3 die. And that sucks. We get all 3 failures. Shrug. What can we do? So that is the end of our second card, and it's over to the United States. Wow, that was really bad. So their first card is Boko Haram, which is a playable jihadist card. There are no plots on the board, so we can skip the ARF section. Yeah, and then we get over here. Can they reassess? Well, they have 3 on, so they don't have enough reserves, so no. Then we go to over here. Can they disrupt in a poor Muslim that sells minus cubes? Nope. They have the ops, but Saudi Arabia is not an ally, so they cannot disrupt there. Afghanistan's out of reach, and Mali is, of course, one of us right now. So no. Islamist rule greater than equal to 3. No, our resources is actually at 2, but we're not quite there yet, so no. War of idea and Muslim with DRM greater than or equal to 0. That's pretty close. I think they actually can do that now. Let's see what their options are. Okay, so their modifier is only a -1 right now because the world's posture is at 0, so there's no penalty there, and they have a -1 there, so just -1. It looks like they have a nice modifier in Pakistan that seems to be the highest one because they have a +3 minus the one that's +2. So they can do that, yes, and I believe they will. So we go to War of Idea Muslim, poor with highest DRM, and that's going to be Pakistan, of course. So let's go ahead and spend that 3 card that the United States used, and they're going to do War of Idea in Pakistan at a +2 modifier. So we roll the die, they get a 5. 5 plus 2, actually plus another 1 because it's adjacent to the Gulf states. That's way more than enough. That's enough to succeed. And again, they picked that because they picked the one with the highest DRM, so they succeed. And the country's governance improves 1 level to fair. Now, when a country's governance improves, any awakening or reaction markers there are removed. So this guy goes away. That means it's only at a +2 now. Okay, that was their first card. Their second card is going to be Kinder, Gentler. So, Kinder, Gentler is a card which I believe is considered unplayable. Let's see here. Kinder, Gentler. Treat as unplayable unless troops at low intensity, which makes sense. They're at war right now, so this is not going to be considered playable. No plots, we skipped that part. So we basically just run straight up to... I wonder if they use Homeland Security stuff if they had like more than 3 offs. I don't think so, because they do have 1, right? Did they use the 3 plus the 1 for something? I don't think so, because you really shouldn't be spending more than 3 offs a turn. But they can combine this one with that to do something else. Okay, what do we have here? Disrupt? Nope. Because they don't have enough? Nope. War of Idea Muslim with DRM greater than equal to 0? That's possible. I think they actually might be able to do that. So we have a total of 2 operations points, possibly. They can't pick poor countries, they can pick fair countries. And it seems like the one with the highest DRM would be Pakistan. So let's do some math here. They're at a -1 here, they have +2, so they're at +1. -1 for the final push from fair to good, +1 for an adjacent good ally. So yes, they can pick Pakistan because it's going to be at a... dang, hang on. I cancels out. They're at a +1. So yeah, they're going to try converting the country to good governance at a +1 modifier. We roll the die, they get a 3. 3 + 1 is 4, which means an aid marker is placed. So no success there, but their next attempt will be easier. Ka-chunk. And that was the United States play of kinder, gentler. And it's over to us now. So we're in a bit of a pickle. We should try to rectify the situation and slow down the United States attempt at converting this country to good governance. We're going to play beheadings for the event. Select posture for one Shenzhen country. We're going to tell Italy to go back to hard and just screw the United States a little bit. That flip is a delta of 2, so this guy goes to hard 2. We also give ourselves a single funding. Ka-chunk. And that card is used. The second card is going to be NPC safeguards ignored. I would have loved to have been able to get that WMD, but it looks like we'll just have to wait a little bit. And we're going to go ahead and use that to recruit twice in Saudi Arabia. Try that again, essentially. So we roll 2 die. We get 2 failures. That sucks. Such is life. It's over to the United States now with their 2-card play. Their first one is Operation New Dawn. Replace 2 U.S. troops with 2 local security forces, even if not in civil war. So let's go ahead and consult the Operation New Dawn. What do we have here? Use War of Idea Priorities box. Not sure about this logic. Well, okay. Right. Well, it looks like this is a playable event, so it's going to happen. There are no plots to worry about, so they don't have to do anything about that. But they will use the War of Idea Priorities box, and we'll see if it makes sense. So War of Idea. So it's going to be this one over here. Okay. So they really only have 2 choices, Afghanistan and Iraq. So, yeah. What are they going to choose? Okay, so lowest number of plot dice. So both are tied. Regime change, nope. Caliphate capital, nope. Pakistan, nope. Syria, nope. Iran, nope. Civil war, nope. Adjacent good ally. It seems like that would be Iraq in this case, because they're a good ally and Afghanistan is not there. So it seems like it would be that. Also, by the way, it wouldn't make sense to put security forces here because it's not like they can do anything there. They're sort of just, you know, taking up space right now. I'm actually kind of surprised the United States did not deploy out of there. I suspect if we went through this entire chart and got to here, maybe then they would, like, certainly deploy out of a Islamist rule country, but that hasn't happened yet. So most interesting. So great, they're going to go ahead and send these guys back home to the troop track. Uh-oh. There we go. They're still at war though, and they are going to replace those 2 with local security forces, which means they won't get prestige for disrupting there, but that's sufficient for slowing me down in terms of converting this country to Islamist rule, and that's fine. So we'll do that. Okay. That was their first card. Their last card was going to be NATO, which is a non-playable event because I believe this card is like if the GR penalty is 0 and the country's in regime change. There are no regime change countries, so we can skip over that. They basically have 3 operations points to play with. Let's consult the chart and see what happens. Is reassessment possible? No. Go there. No. Disrupt and poor Muslim. Nope. They cannot disrupt. So Islamist rule greater than or equal to 3. Nope. Resources are at 2. Or if idea Muslim with DR greater than or equal to 0. Okay, so they're at -3. So they have a -3 modifier right now. And are there any countries that have a +3 modifier? Well, these are a +1. So no. But it seems like Pakistan actually might be eligible, because they're at -3, +3, because there's 2 awakening markers in age, so that cancels each other out. It's at 0. The fair to good pushes there, so it's -1, but there's an adjacent good ally country, so that's a +1. So that also cancels out. That's a 0. So it looks like they can target Pakistan with a War of Ideas at a 0. And if we look down here at we do the poor of highest DRM, but none of the DRMs are at greater than 0. And this is a bit odd, right? Because, you know, you ask this question, right? And then you go here, and then you go, oh, well, we want to do the poor with the highest DRM. And yet, all the poors are not at a 0 DRM. So I suspect there's some logic here that tells you that however you get here, you actually want to ask this question again and make sure that's true. Right? Makes sense? That's the way I see it. So next up is going to be fair with highest DRM. So we're actually going to do that because they're going to pick Pakistan, which is at a 0. So here we go. We'll roll away, and they get a 1. Thank goodness. So no success there. Nothing is added. If it was a 4, they wouldn't place another aid mark because one's already there. So thankfully that card is used up and does not cause any issues. And we're done. That's the end of it. There were no plots to resolve, so we are complete. Let us go ahead and follow the end of turn procedure. Jihadists lose the funding. Next up, the United States loses the prestige if there are Islamist rule countries, of which there are, so haha, their prestige drops down from 3 to 2. And they would gain a prestige if the world completely agreed with them, but they don't. They're quite somewhat opposite, so nope. And then reserves to 0. The US skips that aspect. Return plots to available. No plots were used, so they're basically available. And then we conduct polarization and any any convergence that sort of results from that, and attrition as well from civil war, but there are none. So let's take a look at the map here. Remember from the chart of the rules that polarization, things will happen if there's a absolute value difference of 2 or 3. Otherwise, nothing happens. 2 or higher, basically. So in this case, these countries are 1. They're all 1. There's only 2 countries on the board that seem to have more than 1, which is Pakistan and Saudi Arabia. They're both at 2, so the consequence is to place another marker of that type on those countries. So, yeah, right. Yeah, so it looks like if we go to expansion pieces, we will put 1 awakening marker in Pakistan and 1 more in Saudi Arabia. So as it stands right now, if nothing changes with these countries, Pakistan will become a good country and Saudi Arabia will become an Islamist rule country. And I believe that happens simultaneously for the purposes of placing convergence markers. Okay, great. Looks awesome. We have finished that part. The next thing to do is to deal out the new cards. So it looks like we're going to get ourselves 9 cards, and the US is going to get 8 cards. I'll deal them back to back. So I'll just go back and forth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and we get our 9th card. Okay. Remove lapsing events. There are none. Return off forces maps. Nope. Regime change to TAN, and we are done. Okay, well, that has been the end of turn number 5. Thank you folks so much for watching. Let's do a quick status update of the tracks here. We're at 2 Islamist resources. Good is currently at 3. Right? No. Oops. It's at 6 because both Egypt and the Gulf states is under good control. Oh, I guess I forgot to add the +1 modifier there, but I think that still wouldn't have made a huge difference in the long run because it was at a -2 or 1 for the most part. Yeah, pretty sure I did that right. What else? What else? What else? So that's good. And okay, so that's the good resources, all the resources. Fair and good countries, there are a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There are 6 countries at good and fair, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 countries at poor. So, bit of a downgrade. It's going to be tough trying to get that to 15. So, yeah, we'll just have to go from there, I guess. And that seems to be it. Okay, folks, that is going to be the end of turn 5. We saw some interesting developments that occurred. More reaction markers were placed in Saudi Arabia and in Iraq. Pakistan is very slowly closing the gap towards good governance. I suspect they will go to good next turn. The United States is quite close to winning, though, because they have 6 resources. And Pakistan will be 8, so they only need 4 more. We're going to have to maybe spend some time to try and get these good countries to poor, or try to knock them out of good, so we can at least slow them down a little bit. And yeah, that's how things are going right now. So thank you all so much for watching. This has been our Let's Play Labyrinth: The Awakening. This has been our 4th campaign, turn number 5. I will see you all in the next video, turn number 6, next time. And I will, of course, save this game file and be very smart about it, because I didn't do it last time and that was dumb of me. So let's do it now. And alright, thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Have a great day. Keep your pets spayed and neutered.